This Sermon on the Mount, it's the destination the whole Old Testament was pointing to. If you are a Christian, you are the living fulfillment of everything that God has promised. Just moments ago in Matthew 5, verses 1 through 12, Jesus described that life. He talked about the poor in spirit, the merciful, the peacemakers. These are not the ones that the world celebrates, but they are the ones that heaven calls blessed. Now he turns to the crowd, not priests or scholars, but fishermen and sinners. And he says something that changes everything. Ye are the salt of the earth. Ye are the light of the world. You weren't meant to follow Jesus in secret. You were meant to shine, to preserve what is fading. You are to walk in a righteousness that the world can't explain. This is what happens when the reign of Christ takes root in you. Discipleship doesn't stop at belief. Disciples must become. The first thing that Jesus says is that you are a preserving presence. Look at Matthew 5 and verse number 13. He says, "Ye are the salt of the earth. But if the salt have lost his savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot of men." In the ancient world, salt wasn't just a seasoning. It was sacred, strategic, even used like a currency. Our word salary comes from the measure of salt that one would be paid. The phrase, not worth his salt. It's somebody that wasn't worth what he was being paid. Salt preserved food. It purified sacrifices. It even sealed covenants. And not to mention, it made bland things come alive. Salt might not call attention to itself, but it changes everything that it touches. That's the kind of presence that Jesus is talking about. He wants us to be a quiet, holy, preserving presence. But with this declaration comes the warning. If the salt loses its savor, well, what's left? If there's no flavor, what is salt? Now, Jesus isn't talking about salt chemically becoming something else. He's not saying it stops being salt. He's saying, if it's not salty, what good is it? He's making a rhetorical point. If that salt isn't salty, it's not salt. It might still look like it, might still have the chemical makeup, but it has no power, no purpose. It's just another white rock that belongs underfoot. You're pointless. Salt that doesn't preserve isn't neutral. It's failed. And a world full of rot, there's no place for this ornamental discipleship. Jesus is saying, I've made you necessary. Don't blend in. Don't dissolve. Don't lose the very thing that makes you different. You are salt. We are salt. So stay distinct. Stay faithful. Stay present in a world that's falling apart. The question is, where has God placed you to preserve? What good are you supposed to be bringing to the world? What decay are you supposed to be slowing? What rot are you meant to resist? But we aren't just supposed to be a preserving presence. We're supposed to be a public radiance. Look at verse 14. If I could find it in the dark. Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. If salt preserves quietly, light shines visibly. Jesus says both are supposed to be true of you. You are the light of the world. That's not talking about your talent, but because His light lives in you. This is a fulfillment of Isaiah 49. He says, I will give thee for a light to the Gentiles. Jesus lights the lamp. He's that messianic light. But He wants to set it on the stand of your life, that they may see your good works. And do what? Well, glorify your Father which is in heaven. If your obedience points to you, it's not light. That's no different than any other religiosity. If it leads people to God, that's the light that's supposed to shine out of our lives. So your question, does your life glow with that quiet faithfulness? At home, at work, in conversations that no one sees. I guess, who are you talking to if no one sees the conversation? Maybe over the phone, I don't know. Does your light point up? You don't have to shine like the sun. Here in this dark area, we've got lamps all over the place. Each one fighting back the darkness where it is. It doesn't have to be the sun. It just has to let the flame shine out. Now maybe you're wondering, if this kind of life is so different from what came before, from what we've known, is Jesus starting something new? Is he leaving Moses behind? Well, that's point number 3. You're not just a preserving presence or a public radiance, but Jesus says you are a prophetic fulfillment. Again, he comes to fulfill the law. Christ is that end of the law, as we'll see later in Romans chapter 10, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Look at verse 17. Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. Now, I know we've broken up these videos into different sections, but this is the introduction to Jesus' sermon. Verses 1 through 12, he gave us the Beatitudes. It's kind of the thesis of what his people are to look like. And here he pauses to emphasize that this is the fulfillment of what the Old Testament promised. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled. Jesus anticipates the question. Is this new law a new religion? Again, he's still trying to tell you what this sermon is all about. No, he's not starting over. He's fulfilling what's already been promised. The law was never a ladder to earn God's love. It was given to a redeemed people to show them how to walk with God. And the prophets don't contradict that. They longed for the day when God would write the law on man's heart. That's what Jeremiah 31:33 is all about. I will put my law in their inward parts. Or Ezekiel 36, verse 27, and cause you to walk in my statutes. This Sermon on the Mount, it's not a detour. It's the destination the whole Old Testament was pointing to. Jesus fulfills the law for us by his perfect obedience. He fulfills the prophets among us by living out every one of those promises. And he fulfills both the law and the prophets in us by his Spirit when he forms a new kind of people. Are you living like the fulfilled one lives in you? I think we take for granted the sort of power that is available to us. Our habits, our thoughts, our relationships should all be shaped by the one who completed the law. If you are, the next verses describe you. Jesus says that his people, the ones who follow him, are pursuing a surpassing righteousness. Look at Matthew 5, verses 19 and 20. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments, and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. And whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I say unto you, that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, ye shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven. The Pharisees were the gold standard, at least from the outside. They had the rules and the robes and the reputation. But Jesus says that's not enough, because their righteousness was external, measured in tassels and titles, but God sees the heart. Jesus calls for something deeper, a righteousness that begins on the inside and works its way out until it touches everything. And only he can give that kind of righteousness. We need to stop this idea of trying to impress God. We're all living from a life that he's given us. Why are we content? I should make this personal. Why am I content to look righteous? We should be hungering and longing for the kind of holiness that only Christ can form. Are you salt? Are you light? If you are a Christian, you are, however salty or bright you may or may not be. You are the living fulfillment of everything that God has promised. You don't earn this by good works. You receive it by God's grace. But you are to live it out, and that happens through our good works. If you have been born again, Christ's kingdom now lives in you. You are to preserve what is good. We are to shine in the darkness. You are to walk in a righteousness that excels, that exceeds, because it's His, not yours. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father, which is in heaven. You weren't meant to follow Jesus in secret. You were meant to shine.